this is what we've been waiting for, is to get this opportunity to play for this state championship. And now we're here. But he's had a couple big runs this season for us. But it was a great job at the point of attack of our offensive line.
Franchini, play fake, looking, going deep. Tyson's open, pitch and catch, touchdown.
Right now, it's whatever it takes.
This is the Chuck Smith Show on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service. Now, here's Coach Smith and your host, Nick Kosko.
Another edition of the Chuck Smith Show right here on Cape Atlantic Live. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, and with me is Mainland head coach Chuck Smith. Coach, big win for you guys on Friday night to open up the playoffs, 49-14 over Barnegat. You guys advanced to the South Jersey Group 3 semifinals. You'll welcome the third-seeded Holmdel, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, got to start out with a big win. Barnegat comes out, first drive, they score first, but then from right there, you guys just score 49 unanswered points, roll through into the second half, and you guys are cruising to another sectional semifinal here in 2024.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Barnegat presented some dangerous weapons there with the quarterback, their H-back tight end, number 81, who caught that first touchdown pass on us, and their running back was a tough runner also. And, they did what they had to do. They took some chances, early in the game. I think it was third or fourth play of the drive that they had the ball, and bang, they hit a big touchdown. That's when you're an underdog, you have nothing to lose, and you go out there winging it around, and that's what they did. And credit to them, But I think it was a wake-up call to our team not to take them lightly, and that's what we were telling the kids all week. Is not to take these guys lightly because they're dangerous. They've done a lot of great things throughout the season, and that was the testament to them right there. But our kids responded right away for the rest of the game there.
When you talk about that type of response, you guys did drive right down the field to tie the game up 7-7. Then, of course, we'll get into some highlights in a little bit as well. And then just took off with some big plays, a lot of great plays on defense as well. What was that response like? You just mentioned how they kind of punched you in the mouth a little bit on that first drive, big touchdown. I believe it was a 63-yard touchdown pass. So when your sideline sees that, what was the response immediately from your team?
Yeah, I think it was energy, though. It wasn't like everybody was hanging their heads or whatever. I think it was really like, okay, we got to play football. It's not going to be taken for granted or anything like that. These guys are coming out to play the game, which is what we expected. And I think our guys just wanted to answer the call and assert themselves the way we were practicing all week and preaching and practicing what we needed to do, and they came out and did it.
So before we get into the highlights, I wanted to highlight a couple of guys. Of course, John Franchini threw that big touchdown to Jake Blum, who just sprinted for 96 yards. So we'll take a look at that and break down the film a little bit. Khalib Foster, defensive star of the night, 2 pick sixes, just well-timed interceptions. That really kind of put the game away. I know Barnegat still had a couple drives where they were trying to get something going. It seemed like there was a little bit juice left from their offense, but Khalib in the second half, those 2 pick sixes, I really think just put the game on ice at that point, and you guys kind of just cruise from there.
Yeah, Khalib, so proud of him. He's been a program player, hanging around, freshman year playing freshman ball, showed flashes here and there. Sophomore year, end of last year, he started to get a little bit of time with the varsity and really came into his own this season. But he's a guy who really stuck with it, lived what we preached all in the offseason and everything, and is really having a terrific season. And for him to have a game like that at home, his senior year was really special.
I'll leave you here with this one before we get into the highlights. It's interesting that you guys have had all this playoff success the past couple of years. Again, you're going to be back in the sectional semifinals once again. When you have the messaging to your team going into last week and just about this playoff run, I know we alluded to it last week, but they've been here before, especially the senior class. They've seen a lot over the last 2 playoff runs. What was that messaging like from maybe Friday morning and then into this weekend about, okay, we dominated here, we took care of business, we now have to turn the page because we know what to expect at this point?
Yeah, it was really it's their turn now. You always talk about your senior class, and yeah, they have experienced a lot of success over the past couple of years, and not that they were riding the coattails of others, but it's now their turn, and that was what we were talking about all week is it's their turn to assert themselves and see what this story can unfold in this postseason. And they came out and answered that call in round 1. And, we got over with it over the weekend, put it behind us. And now we have a big challenge ahead with Holmdel coming up, and every game is different. Every team's different. And, we have to go back to the drawing board and really have a great game plan for this dangerous Holmdel team that's coming to the Corral on Friday night.
Yeah, Holmdel is 8-1. Lone loss to St. John Vianney back on September 13th, and otherwise they have won 6 games in a row. So before we get into that, we'll dive into some highlights here. This first one was that Jake Blum touchdown, 96 yards, where end of the first quarter put you guys back up 14-7.
Yeah, after we came down the field and tied them, then our defense came out and they drove a little bit and then punted us deep into the end. And this was the very first play of the offensive series there. We figured they were going to gang up on the box to take away the run. And, this has been a connection going all season. And that was actually a record-breaking catch right there with Jake, because that gave him the record for the most yards in a season for a receiver in Mainland history on the 96-yard catch. He needed 65 yards to break that, and he got that and some on that. But it was a great job by Jake there. I think the thing I really noticed on that play was not just his adjustment to the ball in flight and a good read by our quarterback, John Franchini, but Jake pulling away from the defender. That guy was right on him, and he was able to use the speed and pull away from it. But it was nice. And that, you talk about a backbreaker, you got a team pinned in at the 4-yard line, and we just hit that, and that was a big momentum shifter right there.
We've talked about his emergence pretty much all year long, but what can you say about Jake Blum's performance this year? And again, he's going to have another year. People forget that he's only a junior, and he's really broken out as a wide receiver this year. He's always flashed that talent, as you alluded to other guys as well in your program, but setting the single-season record for receiving yards, and he still has another year to go where maybe he's going to climb up the receiving records all time in school history, and this is essentially his first year as a starter in that position.
Yeah, when he came to Mainland, just a tremendous athlete, and you saw that all the time. And, we had a lot of guys last year, and by the time he came around, but he slowly emerged as the season went. He got some spot time here and there on offense, but he really started to show himself in the defensive secondary last year. He had a key interception against Millville in the sectional finals last year. He had another interception in the state final up at Rutgers University, so he played in some big moments. And to watch him this year, we're kind of going back and forth. Is he a wing, a running back in our offense, or is he going to play receiver? He's played a little bit of both this year, but really probably since, game 3 of the season, I guess it was, we really just shifted his focus to playing receiver. And he's been tremendous out there. He's a very smart player, not the fastest of kids, but he's very fast with how to know how to set up his routes and run routes. And he's got tremendous hand-eye coordination.
Another guy who's really broken out this year at the linebacker position, Chase Hogue. He caused this fumble right here in the second quarter, around 80 tackles now on the season, but this is a huge momentum shift in the second quarter. Yeah,
Chase is one of our team captains, and it says something about his character to be selected as a team captain as a junior in our football program. And he's had a great year at linebacker. And the thing that's big about this is Chase was sick towards the later part of the week last week. We've had a lot of sickness going on in the team. He had 102 fever the day before, and he did everything he could just to get himself ready to play in the game, and it didn't look like it affected him at all in that play. And that was a huge play for us, for him to chase the quarterback down from behind, force the fumble. Of course, Dan DeFeo scooping up and giving us excellent field position right there. And I believe we scored on the very next play.
Right, yeah. So you guys go up 21-7, so we'll skip ahead to this one. This is Rocco DiBiaso just breaking every single tackle on the field right here. Put you guys up by 3 scores with about 2 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, our offense, we've Rocco's been a little dinged up here and there through the season, and he's a tremendous football player. He had a great year last year playing for us at the wing position, and we really we're counting on him to tote the load this year in the backfield. And this is the Rocco we expect all the time right there. He's a punishing, very strong runner, great speed. And you can see there, I think he broke 4 or 5 tackles just running through people in that. And that he's the guy that makes the offense go with the ground game. Not just with his running ability, it's his physicality and his blocking also. As much as he's great at running the football, he's just as good as a blocker in our backfield, and that really makes everything else work for us.
Could have been one of the most impressive runs in his high school career right there, and still a game and perhaps more to go here. So we'll go into the second half. Mentioned Khalib Foster before. This was the first of his 2 pick sixes. Just a great jump on the route.
Yeah, it's a great job. Our defensive secondary coach, Teddy Gogol, who I coached way back in the 90s, he's in charge of our secondary, and he does a good job of preparing the kids for what they're going to see during the week. And you can see there, Khalib kind of sat on that pattern and broke on the flight of the football. And he actually caught the ball one-armed on that play and took it back for a touchdown. And that really put the game kind of away, at that point in time. But just, it's a feel-good thing for Khalib, too, because he's just had a good year and a kid that's really hung in there through some tough times for him over the last 4 years.
We'll have to show the second one, of course. So this was the icing on the cake. Just catches this underthrown ball. And again, 40-yard return here. Great blocking by the defense as well.
Oh, yeah. It was good. The ball was a bit underthrown. Khalib comes back to it, makes a catch, and turns it up the field, brings it back for another touchdown. I've been coaching football for a long time, and I don't remember anybody returning 2 interceptions for touchdowns in a game. But you can see there the enthusiasm of the team to see him catch it and start to return it and going along to set the wall, the green wall coming down, led by Rocco DiBiase right here on that big block on the side there. And, our team takes a lot of pride in pancake blocks, especially our backs. And I coach the back, so it's a big thing with us. And, Rocco had, I think, 3 or 4 pancakes in that game, that being one of them right there. But it was good job by Khalib and adjustment of the football there. And, defense scored 12 points for us the other night. That's huge.
I hope there's some kind of award at the end of the year for most pancake blocks. That's a badge of honor.
I'll be asking for it.
That's a badge of honor right there, whether you're a lineman or a defensive back or a running back or whatever the case may be. So we'll move on to the Holmdel Hornets. Again, I mentioned before, they are 8-1. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They're coming off a 35-12 win at home in the first round of the playoffs last week against a team that you know well in Oakcrest. Again, they were able to shut them down. A lot of playmakers for that Falcons offense and defense, but Holmdel ended up running by them, but they are rolling right now. Head coach Noel Kavanaugh has been pretty good with this program, and they do have, I'll start on their offense, a dual threat quarterback in Jack Cannon, who we were just talking to or talking about before the show. 36 total touchdowns this year, 18 through the air and 18 on the ground, over 1,000 rushing yards. He's got nearly 1,800 yards passing. It seems like the offense operates through him, but he's the real deal as a playmaker.
Oh, absolutely. I took the drive to go up there to see that game on Saturday night. And, it's always something to see a team live instead of just watching on tape all the time. And really impressive football program there. You can tell they're well coached, very organized when I was watching pregame warmups and so forth. Their coaching staff is dead on coaching every play, the whole game through. But the quarterback, he's the real deal. He's a true definition of a dual threat quarterback. As good as his arm is in throwing the football, he's just as dangerous running the ball. And he ran for 5 touchdowns in that playoff game against Oakcrest. And when I watch him on film, he's the engine that drives that thing. He does a great job with his feet. He's has a lot of escapability in the pocket when there's pressure there. He's able to make plays, but really he is a good runner. It's something I haven't seen in a quarterback in a long time, that the offense really relies on him just as much as a running back in their running attack. And they do have a dangerous offense, just because of him and with the option plays they run, the zone read and so forth. It's a lot of the offense I used to run back some time ago, very similar to it. And the running back number 22, he's a tough physical runner, hits the hole hard, reads it for the backdoor cut on a lot of their plays. And they're just as dangerous with the play action because of the running of the quarterback. It opens up their play action passing, and he's very good with that. And they hit a couple big plays against Oakcrest. And the thing with their offense is a couple of times Oakcrest had a chance to really make it a game the other night. And there was one time when it was 3rd and long, and Oakcrest could have really forced them to punt, and they had some momentum going. And the quarterback scrambled out of the pocket and found a receiver down the field. It was a big 3rd down conversion that led to another touchdown for them, which really kind of put the damper on Oakcrest there. But every time Oakcrest tried to look like they were kind of getting back or getting a little more momentum, the quarterback made a play, and they do a good job also on the defensive side. They're very fast, very active defensively. 22 and 33 linebackers there. Number 50, a good, solid defensive lineman who also plays on the offensive side. I think the thing I was most impressed about number 50, because I was really watching him a lot in the game, is here's a lineman, and you don't see this often, and he's on kickoff team, which I was like, holy cow, man, they really, and he's energetic. He's got a motor that never stops. Really fun to watch. He's going to be a nightmare to play against on Friday night, but he's fun to watch, when you're really watching the enthusiasm, what makes high school football so much fun. But they're a good team, they're 9-1 for a reason, or 8-1 for a reason. And they've won 6 in a row, haven't lost since, mid-September. And they got it rolling there, and they've had a couple good seasons in a row here. And I know they're going to come down. I wouldn't say they're the underdog, but they're the lower seed. And they're going to come down with something to prove when they drive down the Parkway.
Number 50 is Cipriano Bodner, who you're alluding to, the senior defensive end and lineman. And speaking of lineman, I did play kickoff at one point, so I was going to say, but no, I probably made maybe one tackle when I was a senior. So, but Bodner, you mentioned him before. I was watching him a little bit on film. Almost 76, just around 76 tackles. He's got 8 sacks, so he's going to be a force on the defensive end of things. One more on their offense because of the dual threat capabilities of Jack Cannon. You guys have faced numerous offenses this year, whether it's the wing T from Delsey, high-powered attacks like Winslow and Millville this year, grinded out type of teams like Ocean City or St. Augustine Prep. Have you seen a quarterback like this, or can you compare a quarterback like this to anybody you faced this season or maybe within the last 2 years where you really have to worry about how good of a dual-threat quarterback he is?
I think, Lancey's quarterback, Pinky, I thought he wasn't into that mode at that point in time, thank God.
Yeah.
But it did evolve to that as the season went, and obviously that's why they're having a great season also. He's a dual-threat quarterback. Hadn't really seen one in a long, long time. He reminds me of a lot of a couple guys I used to coach. When I was at Oakcrest, I had Kendall Elliott, who was a great dual-threat quarterback who ran for like 700 yards and passed for over 1,000, and Brent Caprio from back in the 07, 08 years, where he passed for over 2,000 yards and ran for almost 1,000 yards. And was a Tim Tebow type of kid. And that's what this kid reminds me of a lot. And it reminds me more of those two guys because the offense is very similar with the zone read and the zone slash and dash options off of it and the way they attack it with the play action. It reminds me a lot of that in the quarterback counters and the quarterback powers and the ISOs with the quarterback. And, that's what it reminds me of. And when you face somebody like that also has the ability to throw the football, it's a dangerous thing to have on the offense. It's a dangerous thing to go against when you're on the defensive side, the game plan, because it's a headache. It's one thing if the quarterback is just a runner or just a passer, but when they can do both things very well, it's a headache for a defensive side of the football.
When you're attacking their defense now, we already mentioned Bodner. You mentioned their linebackers as well. Peter Berardi, junior linebacker in the middle. He'll be going all over the place kind of in that second level. I think he's second on the team in tackles with 72, and he's kind of all over the place as well. So when you attack the linebackers with the way your offense operates, again, you guys do air it out more than you have last year and even the year before. But you still want to attack on the ground with Rocco, Lucas, and other guys on the ground. How do you balance that with this type of team where a guy like Bodner, who's going to be a tremendous pass rusher, could be a problem for an offensive line, and you have linebackers, especially in most of their 3-4 looks, where those linebackers are known to go sideline to sideline and maybe track down the running game.
Yeah, they're a fast team. We got to do a great job of blocking, getting off the football, knowing our assignments, because they're going to bring it. When you watch their defensive front, they really come off the ball hard, especially number 50 and their nose guard also. Their linebackers really fly to the football. They do a lot of stunting with those guys I've watched on film. We have to be prepared for that. We have to be ready and not go through the motions or anything, because they're going to bring it to us and we have to be ready to take it to them. And we have to do a great job on the perimeter blocking. We got to do a great job on our offensive line of getting off the ball and taking it to them instead of absorbing those hits. And, we're going to have to, the times that we're going to have to throw, we're going to have to do a great job of pass protection because they put a lot of heat on the quarterback. They do a great job of it. I watched a lot of their films. And they're always in the offensive backfield pressuring the quarterback. I saw that at key moments the other night against Oakcrest. Oakcrest didn't have an answer for it. And they really got out of some situations by a big sack here and there. So we're really going to have to be prepared and really do a good job with our offensive game plan for this game this week.
So you guys will take on Holmdel at 6 p.m. on Friday. Of course, catch the action on Cape Atlantic Live. And on the top side of the South Jersey Group 3 bracket, number 1, Hopewell Valley is hosting at number 4, Seneca. And for those interested with local teams on the other part of this half of the state in Central Jersey Group 3, Somerville hosts Ocean City, and Cedar Creek is going to be hosting Delsey. So just looking ahead a little bit, who knows what these matchups will be. One more for you, Coach. And again, Chuck Smith Show, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service right here on Cape Atlantic Live. You get another home game. You're not guaranteed another one. Maybe you get one in the sectional finals if you guys advance. If you guys advance to the state semifinals, maybe you get another one, depending upon who comes out of that side of the bracket. When you get an additional home game where it wasn't guaranteed at the beginning of the year, Do you guys plan anything else for the school, the fans, the alumni base? What's Friday night going to look like for potentially the last home game of the year, win or lose, especially in a playoff atmosphere?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of excitement, knowing that it could be the last home game of the year. You can never plan for the next one, but I know the kids are going to be hyped up. The Corral Crazies will be there in force as always. Our booster club will do a good job of promoting the game and getting everything ready to go, with the Mustang Corral, because it's always nice. We always have a great crowd and a great atmosphere on Friday nights at Mainland. And I'm sure there's going to be some special things planned for the video scoreboard for this game, coming up, and we have a short week in school due to the teachers convention this week. So, a lot of stuff is getting done today and tomorrow for that in preparation, but it's going to be awesome, and, hopefully we can do our job on Friday night, and who knows how everything shakes out. Maybe we have another home game, hopefully, down the road, but we just got to take care of business on Friday, because this team coming into town is the real deal. And we're not taking them lightly. That's for sure.
Holmdel Hornets 8-1, Mainland and Mustangs. You guys are now 7-3 on the season. It'll be in Linwood at the Corral, 6 p.m. on Friday for right on Cape Atlantic Live, South Jersey Group 3 semifinals. Coach, good luck on Friday. We'll see you out there. And again, hopefully we're talking next week about what you guys are planning for another sectional final here in 2024.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick. I really appreciate all you do for promoting our football team.
Not a problem at all. Chuck Smith Show right here on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service.